Hey, how's it going? It's August 3rd, 2022. This is your Daily Sweet Talk. As I've said before, I've been playing Minecraft for a long time, since I think beta 1.8. I played pretty consistently since then. Um, and I dropped off for like a year or two, and then when I came back, the textures were changed. All of the textures were updated to this new art style, um, which since they had changed textures before. The gravel texture, I remember changing. Um, some of the really early textures like cobblestone and dirt and stuff, they were tweaked a little bit as the textures changed. Um, but this was the biggest overhaul of textures they had ever done, to the point where uh, they changed so many textures that it was like a completely new texture pack. Pretty much every texture was changed a little bit. Not even was changed enough that if you put that texture in with the old textures, it would be out of place. Um, and then every other block that they've added since then has come only with the new texture, because you can switch back to the old textures. They have that texture pack still built in. You can switch to it, but they don't make old textures for the new blocks they add. They only make one texture for any new blocks they add, and that's texture is made in the style of the current textures. So yes, you do have the option to use the old texture still, but then there will be these new blocks that completely stick out, and it's basically like you're using a broken texture pack. So you don't really have the option to use the old textures because it's an out of date texture pack. Like, they don't keep it updated. The only way is if someone made like a fan texture pack. I think there's an audience for that. I would use that. A fan texture pack that just uses all the old textures and updates the new blocks with textures that match the old art style. The old art style is, and all the mobs are still in that style too. They don't, luckily, I mean, I don't think they really stick out. I would, oh my god, well, I really hope they would not change those textures as well. But honestly, anything's on the table at this point. I think they wouldn't, because they're so iconic. But I would think that about the blocks as well. I'm pretty sure the maybe they didn't really change the dirt texture that much, but I'm pretty sure the icon for Minecraft is still that old dirt texture. Maybe it's still this current dirt texture. I don't know. I don't think they changed the dirt texture very much. But the textures of Minecraft were iconic. They were the textures that were there when it became one of the biggest games of all time. So it doesn't make any sense to me to take one of the biggest games of all time. Imagine if you could only play the original Mario game. You're using an NES emulator to play the original Mario game, and you can only play it with like the new 3D Mario. Basically, it doesn't make any sense to do that. And like I guess the justification is, well, partially they wanted to. I don't know. They could have just made, like any new blocks, they could have just made textures that matched to the old textures, which is what they had been doing up to that point. The only, I think the justification people give is that the textures didn't look good enough, but that just doesn't, like they weren't professional enough for a game of Minecraft's magnitude. But that was what was charming about Minecraft. Minecraft is not this huge game. It is an indie game, and these were like homemade textures. And they looked good. It's charming. It's a charming art style. People had made fun of Minecraft's art style over the years because it is kind of silly, and it's very simplistic. But that's what's charming about it, and it still is like that. But now it's like a little bit more fancier, so that it looks like a texture pack someone has made, and it's like a texture pack you're forced to use. It's not a bad texture pack, but now that's all you can use.